your participation for the India-Japan Skill Development Opportunities in Hospitality and Transportation segment today. To begin our event, I would like to request His Excellency Mr. C.V. George, Ambassador of India to Japan, our event. I would like to request His Excellency Mr. C.V. George, Ambassador of India to Japan, our event.
Good afternoon, everybody. Miss Akina Shimizu from MLIT, Mr. Suzumu Shiono, again from MLIT, Mr. Toshiyuki Kikuchi, representative of LearnNet Skills, Mr. Kazuhiko Oshika, Mr. Sugawara, Mr. Shigekazu Sakai, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to see a good response today for the event, which would discuss opportunities on two sectors of hospitality and transport. As you are aware, we have been organizing various events as part of our skill development cooperation and human resources engagement for the last 1 year. I am happy to see that it is yielding some results. I see a lot of enthusiasm and energy in further building the cooperation between India and Japan in the skill sector as well as in human resources. I'm happy to state that a new test for hospitality accommodation was recently conducted in India in February this year. I also understand that the transportation sector is one of the new sector introduced by government of Japan as part of its expansion from 12 sectors to 16 sectors under the SSW domain, and India has touted as an important source country due to the similarity of our transport and driving systems. Dear friends, Government of India attaches great importance to building relationship in the skill sector between India and Japan. Government of India is fast tracking the entire skill development ecosystem in India. It has announced setting up of 30 Skill India International Centers in different states of India, which will be used for conducting various international level skilling initiatives for both domain and languages for Indian candidates. Presently, two SIICs are already functioning in Varanasi and Bhubaneswar. As many as 1 crore youth have been trained and upskilled under the Skill India mission. Wide-ranging skill gap analysis enabled by technological interface is providing the necessary heft to the area of skill development. In my last 1 year in Japan, I had a great opportunity to travel all across this beautiful country. I visited 43 prefectures, and everywhere I have come across people, companies, and authorities interested to have more engagement in the skill sector, particularly looking for Indian talented, young, dynamic, skilled workforce to come to Japan. I see a huge opportunity. We have a large number of Indians, if you look at it, work in different parts of the world. I have served in many countries. Everywhere there is a huge number of Indians contributing to the economic progress of that part of the world, whether it is the US, Europe, or the Gulf. I would like to see more Indians working here in Japan as well. So once again, I congratulate those who have taken the initiative in organizing this seminar. I would like to thank MLIT and LearnNet Skill and other partners for their support in putting this event together. I hope that the presentations today will focus and showcase the opportunities for Japanese businesses and corporations to look towards India as one of the important destinations of getting their workforce, talented and dynamic human resources. Once again, thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you your remarks. Next, we would like to request Mr. Susumu Shiono, Automobile Transportation Business, MLIT, and Ms. Akina Shimizu, MLIT, Japan Tourism Agency. 続きまして、国土交通省塩野進様、国土交通省観光庁清水秋田様よりご講演いただきます。
ただいまご紹介をいただきました、国土交通省物流自動車局で企画官をしております、塩野と申します。よろしくお願いいたします。本日はこのようなイベントにお招きをいただきました、シリ・ジョージ大使閣下、大使館の関係者の皆様、その他、本日お越しの皆様も含めて、大変、ありがとうございます。また、日頃より国土交通行政にご理解、ご協力をいただきまして、誠にありがとうございます。先日、NHK のインタビューにシリ・ジョージ大使が受けられているのを拝見いたしました。日本企業がインドに進出をするといったことだけではなくて、インドから働き手の方が日本に来て活躍をするということが、日印の関係の促進に一層つながっていくと、協力の促進につながっていくということもおっしゃっていたかと思います。ちょうど先日ですね、私ども政府の方で、この SSW 特定技能制度における自動車運送業分野の新たに新規に追加をするということを決定いたしました。私の方で本日その内容について簡単にご説明を申し上げます。ちょっとあれですね、ホスピタリティの方のプレゼンテーションになってしまっているんですが、ちょっと進めていただいていいですか。まず今回です、外国人ドライバー、バス、タクシー、トラックの分野での受け入れをすることになりました。まず背景として、やはりその日本全体として少子高齢化、それから人口減少が進んでいるということがございます。自動車運送業、ドライバーの分野でも働き手が不足しているという状況がございまして、またこれに合わせて、今年の4月から、まさに今月からですけれども、労働者の規制が強化をされまして、時間外労働がより一層厳しくなって、物流2024年問題というバックグラウンドがございます。こちらのプレゼンテーションのシートにもございます通り、3月29日にバス、タクシー、それからトラックの運転手について、特定技能制度に追加するということを決定いたしました。現在、これから受け入れに向けて、技能評価試験の実施にかかる準備等を進めているところです。で、バス、タクシー、トラックに関して、この制度の概要をですね、こちらの表に記載をしております。まず、受け入れ見込み数につきましては、今後5年間で、このバス、タクシー、トラック、自動車運送業分野全体で2.45万人、24,500万人、24,500人を上限として受け入れるということにしてございます。で、主な業務内容としては、当然その自動車の運転、いうことを想定しております。で、この点で、バス、タクシーについては、制度設計の段階で、いろいろと厳しいご指摘もありまして、物を運ぶだけではなくて、お客さん、人の命を運ぶということ、この点を踏まえて、何か事故があった時の対応などもしっかりやるべきだといったことを踏まえてですね、 日本語能力につきましては、下から2番目のところに書いておりますが、その他の SSW の分野で、日本語能力試験としては N4 のレベルを求めておりますが、バスタクシーについては N3、一段高いレベルを求めるということになりました。トラックについては、他の分野と同様に N4 ということになっております。それから、上から3つ目の技能水準のところになりますが、日本でドライバーとして働いていただく際には、国際免許ではなくて、日本の免許を取っていただく必要がございます。バス、タクシーであれば、第2種運転免許、トラックの場合には第1種運転免許を要件としております。で、具体的には、海外ですでに免許を持っている方に、日本に来ていただくわけですが、その際に、特定技能というビザ
So,
まず、
so firstly, they will enter Japan with the designated activity visa will be provided when they enter this country. And then after arriving in Japan, then they will obtain Japanese license or make a switchover from their original license to Japanese one, and then obtain class 2 license if he or she will become the bus or taxi drivers. So could you show the second slide? Thank you. So on the upper half of the slide, bus and taxis, so they will eventually obtain class 2 license for passenger service. So for buses and taxi, 12 months. For truck drivers, 6 months will be granted before they get Japan's driving license. Then red box means that the start of the services. Then these people will be able to stay in Japan for 5 years. So if someone comes to Japan as a bus or taxi drivers, then 1 year for the preparation, then another 5 years for service provision, in total 6 years in Japan. So then we will have further discussions about which countries will be target. We will have consultations with experts in this industry. So more specifically, then we will plan about where to host these tests. So our idea is Philippines, Vietnam, or Indonesia. Our plan is to conduct the tests in these countries for candidates. But so if you have some other ideas, let's say that if you want to bring the drivers from India, then please raise your voice. And also, so bus or taxi, truck, the trade associations need to have consultations. If we should have a test in the, let's say, Indian languages, for example, so the needs and wants of the industry and India should be reflected. So that's it about the overview of the framework. Thank you.
Shimizu, the podium is yours.
皆様こんにちは。
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Akina Shimizu. I belong to the MLET representative and hospitality sector. Thank you very much for this opportunity. So from the hospitality agency, let me walk you through that some of the roles and responsibilities in the accommodation industries. As you can see, in the accommodation industries, the hotels, inns, we are thinking about to checking in, checking out, organizing the event. So there is a planning and public relations and the customer services and the restaurant services. So those are the major 4 operations, and that is considered as the skilled operations, skilled jobs. So if those 4. Therefore, that if you are aspired to acquire the specified skilled, you have to learn all 4 skills and operations. All 4. And next, in the accommodations industry, and the specified skilled number 1 by end of the December 2023, the number of the workers designated as the specified skilled workers very small. Therefore, based on the uh, tourism powerhouse Japan, that we are aspire to accept that 60 million tourists. Therefore, the accommodations and the touring industry is considered as the very potentials. Therefore, it is the urgent challenge for all of us to address the shortage of the labor in the accommodation industry. Therefore, we are the tourism agency help the business to accept more and more foreign specified skilled workers. So that's the new target was set that 23,000 the foreign specified skilled workers. So in the past, the test center Japanese test center personnel traveled to India with the iPad and conducted the test, but we switch that methodology to increase the opportunities for conducting the test. For the last year in India, that we conducted 3 examinations, but after this April, the number of the tests conducted in India that would increase 6 times a month. Well, in Japan, excluding the weekends, that we organize the test every year, so you are able to take the test anywhere, somewhere in Japan. The opportunities is provided every day. So in addition to the more opportunities for the test or examinations, we're super aggressive about improving the working environment, so that we are organizing the recruitment or job fairs, and we are setting up the B2B matching opportunities so that we will tackle to increase and identify the promising candidates. That's all from us. Thank you very much.
Mr. Toshiyuki Kikuchi, Learnet Skill to make a presentation. 続きまして、ラーネットスキル菊池俊之様よりご講演いただきます。
CB George and Mr. Manchanda ご来場の皆様、こんにちは。今回のセミナーを、企画
So thank you very much for having me. I'm Kikuchi from Learnet Skills Limited. Today I'm going to talk about the SSW workers for hospitality, hotels or restaurant industry, and in the logistics or transportation industry. Then, to begin with, the statistics, the number of SSW workers. Total, the 208,000. So this number shows the number of workers under this visa. So India at the 3rd place. So the absolute number is still low, 230. So among these people, then some workers have switched their status from intern to SSW. Therefore, India is still new in this category. So I strongly hope that these numbers will go up for India. So we will make our best efforts to have more workers from India. So then this slide shows a breakdown of the Indian workers by industrial sectors. So the total 208,000, then the 230 accounts for India. Then more than half, close to half work as a care work or nursing work. So almost all of them made switchovers from intern to SSW. Then 28 people for industrial product and manufacturing. And for automotive maintenance, 54. So 0 for hotel industry. So SSW test has just begun for this industry. So therefore, no one entered Japan with this visa. And also, no one has made a switchover from trainee for SSW in hotel industry. And also, the driving has been added lately too. Then this slide shows the number of new entry. So for trainee and SSW, these numbers are not total. These are the numbers for the 12 months up to December 2023. So the number 1 place is occupied by Vietnam, followed by Indonesia, the Philippines, and China mainland. So India is on the 12th place. So around 700 people entered. So 87 people with SSW visas. So most of them got the visa for nursing care or elderly care. So they got through the Japanese proficiency test and occupational expertise test. So those people entered Japan with a new framework or SSW. For accommodation or hotel industry, let me give you the overview of the labor market. So in India, then hotel business or running ends. So our prospective number of the Indian workers in this industry. So the first target for such workers, 22,000. Back then, those numbers were revised, and then 11,200 was the new target prior to COVID. Then we only have 401 people for hotel industry, or 3.55% of the target, which suggests that there's a big room for this industry for more workers or labor shortage in Japan. Then, so our estimate of the number of workers is 23,000 in the coming 5 years. Then, so we wonder how many people will enter Japan under the new framework. So I wonder how many people will start working in the hotel industry, and we need to pay close attention. So the human resources from India for hotel industry, then high school graduates are covered in the specialized education. The longest period should be 5 years. So when we talk about the hospitality, then hotel or sightseeing or restaurant industries, so the graduates of these training will find their opportunities in these areas. Therefore, the education, a targeted education will give a relevant knowledge and hands-on experience. So these people will get tests and learn Japanese in order to get SSW visa. Then what is the situation in India? So some of them are working in hotels or restaurant in Middle East or other parts of the world. So we need to think about the ways to how to entice the people to the Japanese market. So they are very good at speaking English. Therefore, they have no issues when they welcome foreign guests, and they are diligent. They are hardworking. This is the overall impression of these Indians. So starting in March this year, prometric test just started. So the way of administering test. So previously there was 2 multiple choice. Today we have 3, which drove down the passing rate significantly from 20 plus to something around 10%. So the test has become much challenging. So passing rate went down. Therefore, we need to find ways to how to prop these numbers up. Then we also have other challenges. One of it is that we administer tests at Gurgaon and Bengaluru, only 2 places in India to give tests. So India is a diverse and big country, so it's too much for test takers to make a long trip, sometimes overnight. So that examinees need to cover those costs. So it's not very easy for many people to take those tests. Therefore, again, I think there seems to be room for improvement in order to make it easier to get these tests. So we will find ways, for example, securing other venues for testing in order to facilitate the SSW framework. Then transportation industry. Let me give you the overview. So as the MLIT mentioned, then the total number is targeted at 24,500, then 15,000 for truck workers. So the requirements for bus and taxis, a class 2 license and a test is needed. Also, N3 level for Japanese proficiency. So these will be the requirement for truck drivers. Then, like other SSW, then the expertise test and JLPT 4th level will be required, and also the driving license should be obtained. So JLPT or proficiency test is given only 2 times a year. So the bus, truck, or taxi drivers, then only 2 chances for examinees to take. So this seems to be a challenge for operators of such businesses. Then, so Indian talents who work in logistics industry, what kind of people are they? So they are high school graduates mainly. So as of today, so many Indian drivers work in Middle East or Europe. They are responsible for logistics or passenger transportation. So then if we want these drivers to come to Japan and start working, the first challenge, first hurdle is how to teach English to them. Let's say JLPT N or JFT basic, JLTP N4, the very basic language skill for truck drivers. Then how long will it take and how much will it cost? Then if we ask these drivers to take courses, then will they pay willingly for the tuition for Japanese education? So what can we help in this respect? So this is something we need to think really hard. Then challenge number 2, then if they have made entry to Japan, then firstly, they start spending time in Japan as trainees, then 12 months before getting the class 2 license, or 6 months for truck drivers. So they will need to obtain Japanese license. Then under such a preparation period, what would be the labor contract? And so these are unclear areas still. And if fail examination, should they go back to India? I think the SSW requires a test and a license, then if not, then who will pay for the transportation to Japan? And then challenge number 3, then administering test outside Japan. So still no tangible plans in India, but we really hope that such test will be available in India. So as His Excellency C.B. George mentioned that, so the cars drive on the left hand of the road, both in India and Japan. This seems to be an advantage. And also India is a large human resource pool. So India has several advantages. Therefore, India seems to be very promising as a source of human talents. So if you consider using Indian drivers, then I encourage you to think more seriously about this possibility. So summary. So India is arguably the only country who can provide high quality human talents for a long time to come. So, as you are well aware, then compared the wages in India and Vietnam, they are relatively becoming very high partly because of cheaper Japanese yen and economic expansion in these countries. If we think about this, then so stable provision of quality human resources, what will be the next source? Then India, something you cannot miss. And also the government of India supports the idea of sending younger age Indian people. So Indian government is very serious to give knowledge, skill, and teachings to young Indian to find job opportunities outside the country. So more than 150 places are given to give vocational training. So Indian government is very serious to support the HR development. So there's a very solid system of delivering expertise. Therefore, it is a time for us, both for India and Japan, to have more Indian workers in Japan. And then the economic partnership between India and Japan is progressing. Therefore, both public and private sectors. So we have seen the very working deeper relations between businesses, both in Japan and India. So what would be the attractive country? Then this was a question from Japan's business executives. Then they said India. Therefore, the relations between India and Japan will deepen further. So when we made the proposal of the human resource development, then accommodation and land transportation. So these 2 areas are under our focus today, but we will include manufacturer, farming, construction, and other areas. These will also give a great opportunity for Indian workers. So as much as possible, we will respond to the requirement both from Japan and India. We will develop human resources and invite them to the Japanese market. Thank you very much for your understanding and cooperation.
ありがとうございました。Next, we'd like to request Mr. Kazuhiko Oshika, the Japan Association, to make a presentation. 続きまして、公益社団法人日本会大鹿和彦様より講演いただきます。
はい、皆さんこんにちは。
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kazuhiko Oshika, the Japan Association. So let me discuss a little bit about the challenges in hiring that foreign talents in accommodations. And we have the high hope that the foreign talents would make a great contribution to the Japanese accommodation industry. So this is my self-introduction. I joined Japan Nihon Ryoko in 2003 and engaged in the traveling and tourism industry for a long time. Since last year, I was seconded to the Japan Association Japan, and I am in charge of skill training, and the development of the foreign talents in accommodations or in the specific skills. Our association was founded by then Prime Minister Eisaku Sato. So that is the inception of our association since 2000 that we started the development of the specified skills for the foreign workers. And currently, that we are designated as the certified organizations, and we are accepting 80 companies or 1,400 specified skilled workers that we are managing those skilled workers and leveraging the network of Nippon Reco that I used to work for, that we started to accepting the specified skilled workers in accommodations. So from here, I think those are the statistics that you are familiar with. So let me discuss the situation with numbers. According to the Teikoku Data Bank, so this is a number of the corporation who are suffering from that shortage of the workers, both the full-timers or the part-timers. The accommodation or hotel industries ranks the top in terms of the shortage of the laborers. So this statistics shows that percentage of the companies in hotel or accommodation industries suffering from that shortage of the labor. So since 2019, 2021, 2022, of course, that there is a COVID-19 hit of society, but basically that the hotel industries have continuously or sustainably suffering from that shortage of the labor. So the question is why this situation continues in accommodation industries. So we conducted questionnaires to more than 100 hotels, inns, and the businesses. So this is my personal observations and perceptions based on the questionnaires. Why this challenge lingers in the industry. The first reason is that high turnover rate, and compared to the other industries, the wages are cheaper or wages are lower than the other industries. And the third one is that the working hours are not normal, or the less holidays or day offs. So at the center of the big cities, the more and more hotels have started to build, meaning that the labor market in the big cities are very, very tight because more and more hotels build and to accepting that inbound tourist. In addition, it is hard to recruit the experienced talent because of the aging society or experienced workers in accommodating industries are retired or out of business. And based on the hearings, that how to deal with that shortage of the labor. Well, in the accommodation industries, that they reduce the utilization ratio of the hotels, or that the workers in accommodation industries are more multitasking, and the cutting the numbers of the holidays or close date of the hotels. And the fourth measures to address with the shortage of the labor is the hiring that foreign workers. but a lot of the hotels have not yet fully utilized the power of the foreign workers in the industries. So the question is, how many foreign workers are in the accommodation industries? So according to the statistics, that the number of the foreign workers exceeds the 2 million, but in the hotels or restaurant industries, that we only have 32,000 workers, that is accounting for 1.8% of the total number of the foreign workers. On the other hand, next slide shows that in the training or the skill training sessions, 794 specified skilled workers are working in the accommodation and hotel industries, and the 401 foreign workers working in the industry. So why the numbers is so small? Maybe it is because that the employers hired a large number of the foreign workers. But what is the root cause of the number of the foreign workers? First is a language. There are a lot of employers worrying about the level of the language skills, meaning that Japanese. And so the low level of the language leading to the deteriorated quality of the hospitality or the customer services, and the giving that the language skill sessions that would increase the burden of the Japanese employees. And the challenge number 4 is that the different culture. So those are the root causes that the number of the foreign workers is very small in the industry. So there are a lot of challenges, but I make the proposal to address with those challenges. But on the other hand, I have the opportunity to discuss with the very successful the hospitality industries who are very successful in hiring that foreign talent. That is the cooperation between the employers and the and also the organization is India. So on the top of the list is that increasing the opportunity of the Japanese language education and giving the motivation or motivate the foreign workers to keep learning Japanese, a sustainable commitment into the Japanese language, and in parallel, that the employers offer the training programs to educate the foreign workers. Those programs are exactly the same as the ones that they are offered to the Japanese employees, because they are the same employees in the same team, so that the principle, or successful principle, is to act foreign workers as the members of the team, and to work together with the local employees. I think that is the very important commitment for the successful opportunities for the foreign workers, as Emlet mentioned. But this is the summary of the certifications. As you can see, the certified skills in the accommodations that covers the largest areas. Therefore, the recruitment applications, the employers would like to hire the talents with the wide range of the specified skills. So I offered some of the solutions to address the lingering or sustainable challenges. But based on our experience accepting the foreign workers, I would like to share with you the benefits or advantages of the foreign workers. First, sure, there is a language barriers. Therefore, that Japanese employees working with foreign workers get motivated greatly or substantially because that despite the language barriers, the foreign workers are very diligent, they are very enthusiastic and energetic, and it is a lot of work to teach Japanese language, but introducing that the manuals or standardized process that would help improve the efficiency and productivity of the employers as well. And once that foreign workers are going home, that would be the network that will lead to the network of the foreign workers coming to Japan. And that would facilitate the globalization of the employers. If you are considering hiring that foreign talent in the accommodation industry, the message is that please deepen understanding over the power of the foreign workers and take a baby but the solid first step. Thank you very much.
Next, we would like to request Mr. Sugawara, Plaza Osaka All Japan Hotel Association to make a presentation. 続きまして、プラザ大阪全日本ホテル協会菅原様よりご講演いただきます。
Thank you for this great opportunity today.
Next slide. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Shintaro Sugahara. I manage Hotel Plaza Osaka with 653 rooms. In addition, I am in charge of labor and human resource of AJRA and member of the test center of accommodation industry. Next, please. Here is an introduction of AJRA. AJRA was established in 1969 for the purpose of fostering human resources who will support the lodging industry in the future. A national organization of youth clubs from 47 prefectures in Japan. It actively engaged in general management training, information exchange, and political activities. Next. And our main mission is to create an environment in which many foreign workers can play an active role in our industry. For this purpose, we organize examinations and seminars and matching events at home and abroad. Next. Here is today's agenda. The main theme is the introduction of SSW accommodation, an example of the use of foreign human resources in hotel and ryokan. Next. Firstly, the example of my hotel. There are about 30 foreign staff who are various nationalities. Currently, about 50% of our guests are international tourists. So we have started recruiting since 2008. And because of the increase of foreign tourists, multilingual support become necessary, and nationalities become more diverse in recent years. Next. Next is the situation in the hotel industry. According to our survey, more than 90% of facilities intend to hire foreign workers, and most of them are considering the use of SSW. Also, with the addition of SSW second, the benefits for both the facility and the worker are expected to be promoted further. Next. Here are eligible residency status for working in our industry. Now, engineer specialist in humanities and intern services, which is called highly skilled visa, and SSW1 and second, and TITP are common. And there are also other options as described. And next. This is an example of highly skilled visa. And highly skilled workers are personnel with specialized skills, and they can work at the front desk and sales and planning. But there are some restrictions on the type of work that they can do in hotel and ryokan. For example, restaurant work and housekeeping are not allowed. And they must also have a university degree in Japan or abroad, or graduation from a Japanese vocational school. Next. This is SSW1. SSW1 accommodation workers are able to engage in a wide range of work in accommodation. And they can work at the front desk, planning, and public relations, and customer service, and restaurant service. They must pass the SSW test or have completed 3 years of TITP. And also, they need to pass the Japanese language proficiency test. And unlike highly skilled visas, the period of stay is a total of 5 years, and family members are not allowed. Next. And this is SSW second. And SSW second accommodation workers are personnel with advanced skills, like on-site leader or manager. They are assumed to be a step up from SSW1. And they must pass the SSW second test and at least 2 years of work experience in accommodation industry. And unlike SSW1, the period of stay is indefinite and family members are allowed. Next. Next slide, please. And I will present the example of a highly skilled visa worker. This is an example of my hotel. And she is Karura-san from Argentina, who joined in 2021. And she started as a front desk staff member when she first joined the company, and has now moved up the career ladder and is responsible for international sales. She can speak English and Spanish and Korean language and Japanese. So the ability to speak multiple languages at a native level is very valuable. We have been able to increase our sales in Spanish-speaking regions like Latin America that we are unable to explore in the past. Next. Next is an example of an SSW1 worker in ryokan in Gifu Prefecture. She is Dia Aprianti from Indonesia. She works in 3 different shifts, multitasking in a variety of jobs like customer service and food catering. And SSW staff are entrusted with all the duties, which are advantage for them to become multi-skilled. Her next goal is to become a front desk staff member. Next. Next slide, please. Finally, here is some information on each of the tests. Previously, we operated exam on our own system. But from March 2024, we started operating on the Prometric CBT, both and overseas. Overseas test sites are Nepal, Philippines, Vietnam, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka. And the test schedule is constantly updated on the web page of the test center. Next, and this is the SSW second, and this SSW second exam will also be started in May 2024. In the beginning, it will be held only in Japan, but overseas exams are being coordinated now and to be held maybe this summer. Test schedule and information are constantly updated on the webpage of our center. Next, in conclusion, we believe that the development of talented foreign personnel is very essential and of great benefit to our industry. And in the multitasking demands of our industry, SSW visas will become mainstream. In the future, we plan to increase the number of tests held overseas and hold local PR and matching meetings to activity of personnel with specific skill in our industry. Also, we are also preparing a textbook for SSW preparation. And we believe that our industry will develop further when both Japanese and foreign staffs are coexist and active in our industry. Thank you.
ありがとうございました。Next, we would like to request Mr. 重和酒再販富山 to make up remarks. 続きまして、再販富山酒井重和様よりご講演いただきます。
再販富山協同組合の酒井と申します。私ども外国人技能実習の管理団体、特定技能外国人労働者の登録支援機関と、専門学校等々の外国人を紹介教育するという3つの仕事役割を行っています。昨年からは、そこに外国人へ運転免許、普通自動車免許、あるいは大型特殊免許、大型自動車免許、そして車両系建設機器の免許等々の資格を取るためのトレーニングの事業も開始いたしました。で、外国人取り扱いをする場合には、協同組合という非営利組織が必要ということで、私ども同業者が集まって、富山というふうに名称を書いてあります富山県内で組合を作りました。今は、本州を中心に約10都県に実習生、特定技能を紹介しています。それで母体はと申しますと、実は介護事業、私自身介護事業を営んでおります。またグループ企業としましては、今36台、大型トラックを持っている運送会社もやっております。またクリーニング会社の方も行っております。で、このスライドは、2月3月と富山県トラック協会の24年問題、2024問題に対抗するための勉強会の時に、外国人の運転手、ドライバーの件で説明会を開いてもらいたいという委託を受けて、労働基準監督署とともに解説をしたという資料を持ちましたので、若干時間の相違がありますので、割愛しながら進めたいと思います。で、もう結論から申しますと、日本の物流業界を守るのは、もう外国人雇用しかないというのが解決論になります。次のスライドお願いします。と申しますのは、今申しましたように、介護というのは皆さん方ご存知のように、決して人気のある仕事ではありません。3K、6K のような、非常に劣悪なというふうなイメージ、決して私どもはそう感じてないんですけれども、世間のイメージではそういったイメージが定着しています。当然、若い人間というのは来ません。次お願いします。当然、どんどん倒産していきます。人手不足倒産というのが2019年まで毎年右肩上がりで進んでいます。で、現在も 介護事業所の倒産というのは高止まりしています。しかしながら、介護事業所を今倒産している特徴というのは2点です。1点は、外国人を受け入れるというふうな意識がない事業所。もう一つは、訪問介護事業所等々の制度的に外国人を受け入れることが困難だといった、この2つの法人については倒産しています。私ども介護の人間にしますと、今いくつかお話ありましたように、宿泊業の一部分が介護事業だというふうに位置づけております。ですから、極端な表現しますと、宿泊業の方で外国人を受け入れていないということが今後続くようであれば、そういったちっちゃなところからどんどん人手不足の倒産というふうなことが、もう介護の世界と同じように進んでくるだろうというふうに想像しています。でそれと同じような流れを継いだのが、次お願いいたします。はい、次もお願いします。今日のメインの主題である運送業、物流業なんですけれども、次お願いいたします。物流業も非常に欠員率が高いと。残念ながら今から30年、40年前のように、稼げる仕事の代表がトラック運転手というイメージが残念ながらなくなってしまいました。その分、人がいない欠員、人手不足というのが全ての産業の中で最も高いという状況になっています。次お願いします。その次もお願いいたします。はい、次お願いいたします。これは簡単に申しますと、日本人がどんどん働きが減ってきているので、当然、労働力不足というのが、もう、顕著になってくるというのは、もうこれははっきりした事実です。もう目を伏せようがどうしようが、この事実だけは、もう毎日進んでくるということを大前提として受け止める必要があります。次お願いいたします。で、富山県の地方新聞なんですけれども、実は東京と富山、地方というのは全く異なります。人の数が違います。富山で残念ながら駅前で人とぶつかることはありません。しかし、この辺り歩くと、前から人が来るとどっちに行くのかなと想像しながら歩かなきゃいけない。で何が一番辛いかというと、女性がどんどん都会の方に流出します。都会の学校に行って、都会で知り合った男性と、そのまま他府県で。当然、女性が少なくなるということは、子供の数がどんどん少なくなる。というのが、これはもう現状です。もう実情です。で次お願いいたします。で、同じように自動車業、物流業界も人手がどんどん少なくなってきているというのが現状です。次お願いいたします。次お願いいたします。で、人が少なくなると求人が上がるので給料が上がるという図式なんでしょうけれども、残念ながら一般産業に比べると大型トラックドライバー、中型トラックドライバーというのは給料が低いです。次お願いします。今インターネットの時代ですから、すべての若者はどこにいようが最新の情報を入手することが可能です。次お願いします。
Everybody got connected. Everybody got the information over the wages. That young people would not come to truck industry. They were not willing to be the truck driver. So that the drivers are aging. So and the vicious cycles comes from that less overtime, less wages, and the less candidates. And one of my colleagues is 82 years old, and he is still, working truck drivers. But that is the high risk, health risk for the senior or age drivers. According to this newspaper, the 600 that track 600 workers in the transportation industry would suffer the shortage. So that is the 600 workers are insufficient from April. So the only solution of the shortage of the labor is to accepting more and more foreign workers. Last year, finally, the central government started to take action. So that the nursing care that that central government hesitantly started to accept the foreign workers, and that the same case follows in the transportation. As you can see that the cleaning, nursing care, and the trucking industries, those are the industry find it very hard to accept the young candidates. And that Class 2 driver's license introduced 20 languages. But the situation are different, so that any three requirements in addition to the driver's license number 1 and number 2. And in the last year that we offered the trainings, the foreign trainees to take the exams for the driver's license, but the success ratio or acceptance is low because the answers in those examinations are quite complicated, and it is like the system is not good enough to accept more and more foreigners. And this is Uzbekistan, Ibaragi, Tsukuba City, and Ibaragi. And this is close to Tokyo, but still, that this bus operators are suffering from that the outflow of the workers, so that they started to accept the candidates from Uzbekistan because at the wage level is quite attractive. Once you gain that certificate, and what you should do, but there is no institutions and systems or mechanism to guarantee the future of the market. So that is our job. It is the central government of Japan's job to consider how to accommodate the Indian candidates. Now, how to pay. What's the paycheck for the Indian candidates, and they need to learn Japanese and preparing for the driver's license. And the motivation of that Indian young talents coming to Japan is to make money. Therefore, that and if you have any three capabilities, that they are not willing to become the drivers. And that therefore that we need to create the more worker-friendly, the foreign worker-friendly business environment. Otherwise, that Indian workers have a lot of options to work. So in order to get selected by the Indian workers, that we have to guarantee the 3 times or 5 times higher wages than their home country. And so that is the conditions that we have to consider and propose to the Indian candidates. And for the engineers, it is so the very few opportunities for the Indian workers. And out of the 88 industries and 161 jobs, so there is no logistics or transportation industries. Therefore, as a trucking industry or the trucking related employers, that we have to offer very attractive wages. Otherwise, that no foreign workers select the transportation. so there's several options to switch to the specified skills, like while learning the construction machinery operators, uh, operators, and to study for obtaining the driver's license. Uh, so the option is that the if you get accepted in the different business area, and while keep working or get employed by other industries, that the those Indian candidates continue preparing for taking the driver's license. So during this period that you have to pay at least a 200,000 Japanese yen, otherwise that the Japan would not be selected as the workplace. The one of the major trucking company, Fukuyama Tsuun, that they have already started to accept the foreign workers and they switch their status to the specified skilled workers. And they accept. According to the central government of Japan, we should accept that as many as 800,000 specified skilled workers. The Toyama prefecture's population is 1 million, accounting 1% of the total GDP. So that 24,500 workers in transportation industries, and in Toyama prefecture that we need 24,000 foreign workers. There are 6 requirements to accept that the foreigners with certificated eligibility. But training is the key. And the lot of our clients voice that we are not big enough to accept the foreign workers. But this is the number of the employers to accept foreign workers. Therefore, the large enterprises do not exactly need to hire the foreign workers because that the applicants, Japanese nationals, go to that enterprises, but SMEs find it challenging to hire the local talents or Japanese national talents, so that it is inevitable, or it is a must for SME to hire the foreign workers. So this is our request and a proposal to the governor of the Toyama prefecture, and it says that switching the driver's license to the large vehicles, and that would take more than 6 months. So once you enter in Japan, and you need to wait 5 months to take the exam, and you have to wait another 5 months to obtain the driver's license for the class 1, that is the large vehicles. Therefore, our request to the governor is that if the foreign workers have the driver's license for the large trucks or large vehicles, that driver's license should be switched to the Japanese one in 6 months. In addition, the examination of the driver's license, the number of the language applicable for the examinations are limited. Only 7 languages. So that it is our sincere request that the request to the emirate or central government to introduce the very rigorous and disciplined system to accept the foreign workers. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
ありがとうございました。Now we will have Q&A session. If you have any question, please let us know. ここで会場からの質疑応答を受け付けます。ご質問のある方は挙手にてお知らせください。ご質問のある方は挙手にてお知らせください。We are running out of time. I'd like to finish Q&A session here. それでは誠に恐縮でございますが、時間になりましたので、質疑応答はここで終了させていただきます。We will now conclude the India-Japan Skill Connect opportunities in hospitality and transportation sector today. Thank you very much for your participation today. We have a networking session with tea at the foyer. We hope you will join us. Please return the receiver to the reception. Please be careful not to take them home by mistake. 以上をもちまして、本日のイベント、日印スキルコネクトホスピタリティ輸送部門における機会を終了とさせていただきます。本日はご参加いただきまして誠にありがとうございました。この後、ネットワーキングのこの会場を出てすぐのフォイヤーで開催いたします。お茶もご用意しておりますので、ぜひご参加ください。同時通訳レシーバーは受付まで返却ください。誤ってお持ち帰りになりませんように、くれぐれもご注意ください。ありがとうございました。